Thank you for everybody for letting me speak tonight. I'm going to try and do this in 5 minutes, but I will just say normally this presentation is about 10 minutes on each slide, so this is going to be a challenge. And I also can't see you, so when it's 2 minutes to go, please just shout. So I'm going to talk to you about how farmers in our Ribble and Douglas catchments are tackling climate change. And just to let you know what the Ribble catchment is, basically it starts just above Ribble Head in the Yorkshire Dales and finishes down at St Anne's at the Rett Estuary. And the Douglas, as you can see, is just south of Preston, goes from Leyland, Ormskirk, Skelmersdale and Wigan. So as a trust, we cover quite a large area. I think I mentioned on Saturday, but the trust has quite a lot of different elements to the work, but one of those elements is working with farmers. And as following on from Adam's slide, we are focusing on the win-win. So we want to make sure that any opportunities that we find on a farmer's land, both on land and also on the farmyard, is a win for the environment and climate change, and in particularly water quality, as we are with this trust, but also a win for the farmer. So how is it going to help the farmer's business? We do that through a number of ways. Firstly, we do look at soil management. We want to make sure that the farmers know that if their soils are in good condition, it will have multiple benefits, not just for the environment, but also for the farm business, saving them time and money. So we do a lot of sessions with farmers, both through our one-to-one advice and also through our farm groups, which we've got 5 across the catchment. I want to talk to them about soil compaction. A compacted soil is not going to allow water and nutrients to infiltrate the soil, to get to the soil roots. If those nutrients and water cannot get to soil roots, the crop that they're growing, whether that's potatoes or whether that is grass, is not going to reach its optimal potential. So we want to make sure that farmers are looking at how they are managing their soils, making sure the organic matter content is right, and make sure that the cultivation, so how they are managing that land, whether they are ploughing it or whatever cultivation they are doing, is actually making sure that the grass is growing to its correct potential. We do that through soil sampling, and we also do that through making them have a look at their nutrient management as well. So are they applying too much nutrient to the ground? Are they actually thinking about the crop yield, that the crop requirement that the nutrient requirement that the crop needs, and that also makes you look at, okay, in terms of nutrients, what is that going to be? So that is going to be looking at their slurry and farmyard manure. So slurry and farmyard manure is liquid gold to a farmer that has so much nutrients in it that the farmers can apply to their lands for their crops. But that also makes you have to think about, okay, well, how are they storing that organic matter? Organic manure, the slurry and the farmyard manure? Do they have enough storage for it? Are they storing it in the correct conditions? So we work with farmers to try and figure out all of that stuff, so that one, they are only putting on the nutrients that the crop needs. Therefore, nutrients aren't going to be lost to the air, or if the soil are compacted, it's not just going to run off their land into the nearest watercourse, because that is basically throwing money down the drain. So we look at roofing, we look at different varieties of storage that they can use, and we also try and put nutrient management plans together for farmers so that they're actually utilising the assets that they've already got. A lot of our farmers at the moment are also looking at where they can create woodland, hedgerows, anything that they can do extra on their land to help with climate change and also help with their livestock management. So you'll often see woodlands such as this are planted in areas which may be a bit tougher for the farmers to actually manage, but for the environment it's absolutely fantastic, because in these sorts of areas they're often next to watercourses, and as one of our objectives as a Rivers Trust is to improve water quality, if we can find a little bit of land which a farmer is not using, or is hard for them to access, we would say, right, let's fence it off, put some trees in, and it has multiple benefits. One, it's helping the farmer use a bit of land that he doesn't have a huge amount of productivity on, or is not easy for him to manage. And it's got so many benefits to the environment. A riparian buffer such as this, which is more than 10 metres in most places, will mean that the trees that are growing there are going to be trapping nutrients and sediments which could potentially be coming off the land and stopping them going into the watercourses. It's helping us to stabilise banks and reduce erosion. Obviously, when the trees are actually growing, we're going to be sequestering carbon, which is absolutely fantastic. And when the trees have grown as well, we're going to be providing shade for our watercourses and keeping temperatures cool in those watercourses for animals as well. Other measures that our Ribble Valley and Douglas farmers are doing is actually looking at natural flood management. So hoping that term has come up before, and we could talk about it for an hour, but basically it's looking at slowing the flow. So how can farmers reduce the impact of flooding downstream, and how can we hold water in the upper areas of our catchment to reduce the flood peak downstream? And some of that can be done through leaky dams. Now this is basically holding back
Kathryn, sorry, there's a bit, literally a minute left.
That's fine, this is the last slide, I think. Holding back the water behind these log dams and slowing the flow, and there should be a series of these, and we have started doing this in the upper part of the catchment as well. And finally, we are a Rivers Trust and we are a charity, and we have a volunteer tree planting day in Preston at Pope Lane on Saturday the 23rd. I know this is a bit of a plug, but if you're interested, please call the Rivers Trust office and we'll be happy to have you on board.